Alright, good morning people. I'm going to resume where we left off yesterday. We're going to be doing the poses for these 12 Watchmen we got. So there are more going to be added to the set. They're probably going to, if I'm all honest, going to end up going into another month. Morning Bunker, how you doing chap? Yeah, they're probably going to end up going into another month because I know time is running away and I've got a few other things we need to get on with. And honestly, 12 Watchmen, by the time I get these guys done, I'm going to be a little bit on burnout from them. So I'm going to need to do a little bit of something else to refresh my brain. So where are we at? Yeah, I've been having a chat with Max this morning about Crystal Collapse. So we are, despite all the advice I gave on stream the other day, we're now thinking we're going to go and release it as a print and play in the first instance. So the game, the models, everything else, everything will be available as STLs or PDFs and things like that, so you can print everything yourself. You only need like a handful of dice and a deck of cards or two to play the game, and the cards are just standard playing cards, so you can get them anywhere. So we think we're going to go for a print and play option first, and then with the help of the gaming community we're going to then push on, refine it, polish it, you know, make it the dog stanglies, and then we're going to spend a ton of money making it into a board game further down the line with revised graphics and revised artwork and stuff, because we've actually got two sets of artwork for Crystal Collapse. And if you followed for a while, you'll remember some of the older art as well. Before we changed style to like the Diofield Chronicles type ones. So we are going to revert back to the original kind of design style that we had. I'm just going to see if I've got any of those to kind of show you and see what we're going back to. And then the other thing was as well, well, I had sign off from Kickstarter yesterday to put the Warlock live. So if you were on social media yesterday, you may have seen the first kind of message go out about this. So it was just the first social media post, and I spammed a few Facebook groups just to kind of announce it with some images. So that is in the kind of build a following phase now, so hopefully we get a decent number of people following the project before it goes live. And then say if you're able to and you're willing to, then give me a share on Facebook, on your social media, kind of help me spread the word a little bit on this one, see if we can you know, make this one a success. So let's post the thank you Bunker, you're a gentleman mate, you're a gentleman. Let me just post that. The follow along page is just there now. So I think I'm going to put this live on Tuesday is the plan. So I've got some social media posts planned in every day until Tuesday, and then Tuesday is the day I'm going to flip the project live. So watch this space, we've got about a week and then we're there. Right, let's knock that one on the head. Stop pimping my Kickstarter. Let's go do some sculpting. Anything interesting going on today, Bunker? Or is it just you're just having a chill day? Seems to have warmed up a little bit, so I imagine your streams are going to be getting a bit more frequent now. Oh, and it's 20 hours ago, but thank you to a freaking fox for following, for subscribing on YouTube, on Twitch. Right, so I think every character now has got their thing that we're done. The thing I'm about to do next could kill my machine, so I do apologise if I drop out or if something doesn't go to plan. I'm just going to go and hide all of the second heads now. I need that one. Ah, yeah. Oh, bug. So what I'm doing here, I'm just hiding all the stuff that isn't necessary. Mate, all you got to do is think of a daft conversation topic, and you've got me like very easily there. Right, if I zoom out now, that's what I want. Just the characters that are in the scene. Save. So I've still got 81.5 million polys in this scene, and this is the bit where it's going to kind of die a death potentially. So what I want to do now is merge visible. Has it even done it? Did he laugh at me and just refuse? I'm sure I clicked it. Okay, so it should have done it. I think it has this time. Yeah, it has. Okay, so this is where it's going to get painful, because I've now got, oh, it's 68 million, not 81. That's marginally better, I suppose. Oops. Okay. Right, now we're centered in the scene. So what I need to do now, I'm just going to go and mask off character at a time, and we're going to just split masked parts. Now it should take a while when the first one. Okay, and then hopefully the more of these I do, the easier it's going to be to split everything. It should be a little bit quicker each time. Do any painting last night, Bunker? Okay, I think maybe I'll do this. This might be a little bit. God, even that's hard going. Morning, Rich. How are we doing, matey? There's raids in Minecraft, mate. I had no idea. Genuinely did not know that was a thing. How are we doing today, Rich? You got a busy day today? Let's go separate Ross and Spud. Yeah, no worries, mate. Come and go as you please. Always welcome. I'm just doing a painfully slow little bit of work at the moment because every one of these models is currently in one tool, which is going to absolutely crush my my computer. So I've just got to split them all out into individual figures again. Yeah, I'm not doing bad, thanks, Rich. Got the Kickstarter page launched last night, not in a live format but in like the preview one, so I'm going to be doing about a week of building up steam on that, getting a bit of hype going and sharing it around, and then yeah, after that it'll be probably a launch maybe Tuesday, and then see how it goes. Morning, Toby, hope you're well, mate. Is it split? Is it splitting? Have I pressed the button? Thank you, matey. So I'm going to get our supports done later today. So I'll get the get all the model exported, get the supports done, get the model on test print hopefully, and then all being well, we'll be in a good spot, and I'll have everything I need then for the final campaign. Apart from a painted model, which obviously I would like to have, but I think I've got enough full colour renders of her and stuff as it is, so I think I can get through that. So what do we think? After the Warlock, we've done the Barbarian, we've done the Warlock. What's the next one? What character should I do next? Is Paladin too typical, do we think? Should be getting a little bit quicker and slicker on all of this now. Right, so active tool right now is the ruler. Let's save that down because we need that. We're going to go and pick bunker. City Watchman bunker. City Watchman Elston. City Watchman I need to check the ranks on these. City Watch Corporate Bunker, let's just rename them a little bit. So what do you think then, mate? Do we go for maybe a monk or something then? That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Do a monk in a kind of a meditation type pose, or maybe a monk kicking ass doing some training or something like that. Well, so the existing one we've already got the warlock as the current one that's going live. So she's obviously going to be up as a as the kind of like mage kind of character. I wonder if, with a name like Fohammer, should I make Ross a dwarf rather than a human? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm thinking maybe like even as a half orc or something like that as well. So I've already done an elf and I've done like a tiefling. I could just go human. We could do. Damn, what races make good monks in D&D? Wood elves, halflings, dwarfs, humans, and Kenku. Yeah, I'll make him a dwarf with a warhammer. Yeah, so I think maybe then the next one for the Kickstart will be a female monk then, maybe. Only downside is, again, the best race for monks is like a wood elf, but I've wooded on the elf. Halflings? Could do a halfling monk. How'd you get on with a no monk? Are they effective, or is it just giggles? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a halfling monk then. Let's give it a go. All right, I'm going to rescale. I'm going to rescale Ross to be a dwarf. Yeah, he's got a beard anyway, hasn't he? So. City Watch, Constable Spud. Sergeant Rosie. Constable Pickle. Yeah, he just wanted to do something a bit different. So everybody's now named. So what I can do now is I can isolate each character, save my file. Okay, so what I'm thinking here. Hey Logan, how's it going, matey? Welcome to the stream today. Just doing a little bit of posing on my City Watch models for this month's release. How are you today? Rather good, thank you. I'm saying we got the approval from Kickstarter yesterday for our for the new Warlock Kickstarter project. So she's in a stage of being pimped out at the moment, so we can get some advertising, get some get a bit of hype build up before we launch next week. So I'm feeling optimistic about that one. Bring the palm of the hand down a touch. Bunker, do you want to be wearing a t-shirt, mate, or do you want like short sleeves, or do you want long sleeves, or 3/4, or what do we think? Fair enough then. Short sleeves it is for you, matey. You got a metal metal breastplate, mate. That'll do. That'll hide everything. You can squeeze it all in. Nah, dad bod's nothing to have to worry about, mate. UK, Logan. So I am don't know if you know like UK geography much, but we've got the Birmingham as a kind of a major city, the second city depending on who you speak to, and I literally live like 5 minutes away from Birmingham Airport, so it's a town called Solihull. Apparently. Yeah, someone needs to tell the Love Island producers that. That'll be a whole different series for next year, won't it? MILF, man. Do you know, I've seen adverts on it actually, so. Ah, knackers. Let's mask that. That's a bunker. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to put... In fact, let's just add it on now. You can see it. Yeah, that does sound pretty messed up, man. How are you today then, Logan? Are you a sculptor or a miniature enthusiast, or? So I'm going to just take some insert meshes. Commentary channels. What's that? Is that like oh, what you call it now? The goggle box. My mum loves that. I can't stand the idea though of watching people watching telly. Oh, so it's like a YouTube thing, is it? A YouTube version of Gogglebox. Got you. So what do you think then, Bunker? This is my plan for you. So we're going to have you being pulled along by your rabbit. Cheers, matey. I'm just going to go through and just pull a few get a few bits in that I need masked, and then we'll unmask a few bits that I need unmasked. So this we're going to take to about here. I think I'm okay to do the bit I need to do now, a little bend at the waist. Okay, so we've got that needs to come out, doesn't it? toes up in that cartoon style where you've got the oh, that was a fail, wasn't it? Hey Paul, how you doing, matey? So Paul, I was just saying this morning actually, I had a chat with my mate Max, who we're doing the Crystal Collapse game with. And we were actually discussing releasing it as print and play. Oh yeah, for definite, mate, for definite. I could be insulting you every step of the way here and not even realise it. So it's one of these weird things, right? So like, if you're doing a portrait of somebody, and they're, you know, they're, I don't know, they're large or they've got unusual facial features and stuff. I'm very, very conscious of it because I see all this kind of stuff. I have to see it all when I'm like, you know, just that's just how I am anyway. I just notice the different features, but I'm looking at it in terms of like shapes and things. And I was sitting here kind of going, oh right, so your nose is quite, you know, oh you know your nose needs to be bigger. I need to put like a little bend here. It's not quite straight, and I'm basically kind of like describing in detail somebody's facial features, and hearing it might not be the most flattering thing to that person. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always a little bit kind of wary of it. But you know, if you didn't want to have your likeness on a model, you could always say no. So it's not like it's going to be a deal breaker or nothing, I suppose. But I am always mindful. I am feeling the pressure more for it. So yes, Paul, what I was saying, mate, was we had a chat about orangutan. We had a chat with about the Crystal Collapse game, and we were actually talking about doing it as a print and play. And I know the other day we were discussing it, and I suggested, like, you know, if you want people to play the game, don't do it as a print and play. But what we're thinking is there's a bit more development to do on it, and we'd rather get a soft copy out to people where they can play it and refine it. We can play test it with them, and get them engaged in the game. And then once we've got a good level of engagement, and do the Kickstarter in a digital format, we've then got the option then to basically use some of the funds from the digital Kickstarter to then go back and up-rev some of the artwork, do some of the get some kind of hard copies produced, like prototypes and things. So if we can get all of that kind of stuff done and it helps, then we're considering it at the moment. But I just wanted to give you a heads up, because obviously we said the other day that, you know, an STL release isn't necessarily the way to go, and I still think that. But obviously when you are looking at getting something to market versus not getting something to market, the STL's a stopgap you can use, just to get like version 1 out, if you like. Oops. But also, I'll be having a chat to Chris later as well, so I'll I'll have a chat to him, bring you up, and point him your way as well. Yeah, and obviously people will back and just want the models as well. Do you know what I mean? There'll always be people who don't really want to play the game. But if it's a good game, you want people to play it, because playing the game is how you're going to get people to kind of come back to you and like stay as like loyal customers and whatever. And you want to kind of, if you want something that's got longevity in it, you want to build that like fan base. You know, make sure that people love what you do and come back for more. Speak of the devil, Chris is just messaging me right now. Guys, I also need to say I'm going to be on a bit of a shorter stream today. I've got a few things I need to do. I've got a little errand to run to the post office later as well, so get some orders out and stuff. So I've got I'm going to have to knock it on the head around about probably 1 o'clock today. So it's like a fair bit earlier than usual. Yeah, I mean the biggest consideration, Paul, I think, is the workload involved. So if you've got the time and capacity to deal with it, fantastic, go with it, do it yourself. If you want somebody else to help you and somebody to give you some kind of like, you know, professional assistance and have some have a hand in it, then go for a like a production company. A publisher, sorry. The big consideration either way is you're going to be sharing profits if you go for a production company, a publisher. So it's whether or not you're kind of able and willing to give away a portion of your business. It's like going on Dragon's Den, isn't it? Or what they call it in America, is it Shark Tank or something? It is, but the thing you've got to remember as well is if that game does really, really well, then the success is the publisher's, not so much yours. So you can use that as obviously, you know, your CV then says creator of this game. But in terms of like the actual like sale of the game, the royalties and all that kind of stuff, you'll get a cut of it. You'll get some acknowledgement. You will be acknowledged by them as the author. Do you know what I mean? That'll always be the case. But you're also going to be, like I say, you're giving away something that is otherwise yours. And it comes down to it just comes down to your commitment to see it through, really, and how much you want to make of it. It may not become an overnight success, but it could do. Do you know what I mean? There's always the possibility that whatever you're doing is going to kind of blow up big and see you through. So, sphere that I've just dropped in the scene. So this is how I would typically do a cloak. It will be either a sphere or a cube to start with. Yeah, Tabletop Simulator is great. We use Tabletop Simulator for Crystal Collapse. So when me and Max are playing, obviously Max is in Germany, I'm over here in the UK. So when me and Max play, Max has got the game set up on Tabletop Simulator. So I've downloaded it. I've got it on my Steam account. I'll just load in, log into Max's server. And then he just talks me through what's going on and where we're at, and you know, all the playing pieces there, all the cards there, and everything else. So we just get on and have a go, have a game then. Well, so for the cape, what I'm doing, I want it round his shoulders. It's going to be, the crossbow is going over the cape. So, just going to get my build up tool now. So the crossbow here is going to go over the cape. This is going to, so the strap is going to be firmly underneath, firmly over the top of the existing cape. Going to shape it here, carve away what I don't want. Oops. Oh dear. I hate it when it does that. Yes, actually, if you're on a Patreon, if you go to the if you find a link to the component library, it's in miscellaneous, I think, in my component library. So if you want, yeah, if anybody wants the like the ruler and things like that, they're part of they're in the component library that's available to patrons. Let me just double check and make sure I'm not lying to you. So component library, miscellaneous, yep, 100mm ruler, right at the top. So you've got all these bits and bobs as well. There's heads in there. There's weapons with hands on them and things like that. There's tons and tons of stuff in there. Just make sure that there is actually a link to it on Patreon. That one, yes. Yeah, so if you go to the Patreon homepage here, and you've got the top here, we've got the component library. So if you click on that, I think it's here. Yeah, so that link works. So just go to the last, it was from June last year, but the component library link is still live. I should put a more recent one on really, shouldn't I? But yeah, that link is available anyway. Okay, so Bunker's Cape. So sometimes, even though you're sculpting with objects in a way, the objects will physically interfere with the sculpting. They'll pull the geometry to places you don't want it to go. So you just need to isolate the bit that you're going to be working on, and then just, for me here now, I've made the hood. I just want to bring it back down so it's just shy of the bowstring. It will help to reinforce that string in the print as well. And then I'll take the hood from there. I'm just going to reduce the movement size. I want to pull the tip of the hood so that it's in the same direction as the rest of the movement. Right, now, all this ugly crap that's going on right here is hidden inside the model. You don't need to worry about it. All I'm concerned with here is the bit you can see from the outside. So when I do that, anything that's showing as purple is visible. Gordrak and Seti, good morning, thank you for the follow. I was guesstimating there where this was going to go, so I got it a bit wrong, but not the end of the world. And I can always use my move tool just to kind of position things. Okay, so now we're going for big sweeping strokes coming down from here. So this is going to have to come away. So smooth, do a bit of smoothing, and the next bit is a good tip for you if you're going to be making capes. So make sure you've got a decent resolution on your Dynamesh. Probably a bit too much on that, but I'll live with it for now. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the so I've got my shape here, I've got the crossbow around here, and what I want to do is it's going to be bunched into here, and then it's going to be coming out of here, so there's going to be lots of tight crunches at the top where this is folding round. They're going to kind of widen out towards the bottom. So, orb cracks, turn off dynamic tessellation, it won't work with this on. I'm going to boost my draw size big, like 300 odd big. I'm going to keep the intensity about 12. Now doing this, when I press on, I'm going to repeatedly go over it. And what you should see is, it's a bit thick actually, this cape is, so you're not seeing it as I was intending. Let's boost the intensity up a touch. Here we go. So we do that, it's going to go through to the other side. So anything you sculpt with the large brush like that is going to affect both sides of the mesh. So for the cape like this, it's pushing through to the bottom. So you're getting that kind of, you don't have to worry about sculpting both sides of your cape. Now I don't want it to go through the arrows, so I'm just going to position that, just push that out of the way a bit. That's fine. Back down to there. Just up a touch. I don't mind the bottom side touching the arrows, I don't want it protruding through the top. Okay, and I'm just going to close that up to there. Okay, now that I've used the large stroke to do that, I'm going to use the smaller strokes. I'm going to reduce the draw size down significantly. I'm going to come into the top with lazy mouse on, important that that's on because this won't work otherwise. I'm going to do a few strokes from the tightest part where it's going to be the most affected down into the wider bit where it starts to separate out. I'll hood a few wrinkles. Again, anytime you do a carve in, do a protruding one as well. It just helps to balance out the creases. I'm going to come back onto here now. I don't want to use the smaller brush again. To get some of this stuff going on. Over the shoulder, we're going to do one around the edge. So there. And then that's going to come around here as well. You don't want these to follow like lines of rope or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to cross things over just to give it a little bit of a materially pattern, and that will help to kind of again give you stuff to shade and highlight and get some contrast on the model. Polish all the edges. Again, remember I haven't got dynamic tessellation on here, so the polish is going to actually smooth everything off. It's not going to give me all weird geometry on the edges. But when you're doing the cloth for a miniature, the polishing step's important. You don't want it to be all like wobbly lines. So use the lazy mouse wisely and clean up to sharp edges. So Watchman Monk is almost done. Again, any kind of like, you know, rough and uneven surfaces. You can use the Dynamesh with polish turned on. here, just want to change the shape of this a touch. I'm going to give this a proper billow, but I want to straighten this out a touch. It's a bit too round for my liking. Oops. Well, anytime you're doing nudging with a mesh, by the way, you want to use the largest brush you can get away with. Oops. Press the wrong button. So I'm just adding a few little details here that on the cloth that are just going to help with the sense of movement. There we go, let's get the sword into that cloud there. That'll help with a little bit of anchoring as well. Okay, we're going to merge Constable Bunker with his cloak. Now we need to put the lead on the bunny. So I'll save it because I'm about to auto group and that could crash it, so let's just be careful with that. I'm glad you think so, Bunko. Paul, while this was just loading, I've just noticed your comment earlier on about going for an easier win to keep yourself motivated. That is brilliant advice no matter what you're doing. So if you ever get to a point where you're feeling demotivated with something or anything and you're struggling to kind of become enthusiastic about stuff, you want to kind of start looking for like quick wins. So anywhere you can kind of anywhere that you can kind of get something done and achieved fast and easy is going to kind of help to give you the motivation to do the other stuff. So it's always worth bearing that in mind. Okay, so we're going to do an auto group and not auto group, sorry, I'm going to do a slice. Take the bottom off the rabbit's feet. Take the bottom off Bunker's feet and off the clouds. This gives us a nice solid stable base. I'm going to put groups on and we're going to Dynamesh. I'm going to put around about 270 on the resolution. This could kill it, so I'm going to save it again first just to make sure. Okay, so group, Dynamesh, and we'll see how far off I am. So we're on 7 million at the moment, 7.7 million. Is it doing it? Oh, it's doing that. What I need to do, I need to find my Dynamesh level. As far as I'm aware, the only way of doing it is trial and error. So try it. If it's too high, try lower. Well guys, while this is thinking about it, I'm going to put you on a BRB. I was going to go and grab a coffee. Okay. Hopefully I'll come back and ZBrush doesn't need to be restarted or hasn't crashed or anything like that, and we'll see where we're up to. So 7.7 million now, let's see what we're at in a minute. Guys, I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Do not go away. Okay? Okay guys, I'm back now. Chaz, morning, how you doing mate? He is being pulled along by a rabbit. But it looks like my ZBrush has crashed. So he's not going to recover from this. Let's just try and get a restart on it. Thankfully I saved it just before I did this because I expected it might hang up a bit. So yeah. Right. Let's have another go. Clearly that was too much for it. No, it's a major issue, isn't it, with ZBrush all the time. Just constantly bloody dying, doing simple things that it does all the time. Right, I'm gonna just save out the original tool of all of this. So I'm just gonna save this as a Z tool. Yeah, you kind of get a feel sometimes that ZBrush is going to go, that it'll do certain annoying little glitchy things that you know there's a crash coming, but then other times it just catches you completely off guard, and you even think about saving or something like that, and it'll just go, no, I don't like that. So I'll save that out. I'm now going to go and do delete all. I'm going to lighten the file, lighten the project file by a significant amount. Delete all these. Just save that now that the load's lighter. Right, 136 appears to have done it actually. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's just isolate all the bits below. No, not that bit. We'll isolate all these little bits below the surface. Delete hidden. I'm just going to go and get the these bits here, just flatten them out. Append a cube, stretch a cube, Okay, so I need to take this dynamish up. Yeah, Paul, as you say, ZBrush is a massive turd for crashing. I wish they'd kind of focus more attention on like preventing it. I don't actually feel like I need any more extra features, but I want reliability. See, I've never seen that. I've never seen an operation kind of warning. I just get that gut feeling that it's gonna go. Sometimes when you're doing stuff like here now with this hand, I'm going to split the hand off because I can run it as a separate subtool and it won't kind of carry the weight of the rest of the model. So I can just literally just take this hand now and it's like 16,000 polys and just work with that, and that'll be a safer bet than trying to do it with everything else. Plus, if I need to isolate anything, it's easier to do it without having to accidentally isolate the other stuff. Right, is it? Are you dealing with massive files then? Totally should have checked that before I did it, shouldn't I? Sorry, bunker, I seem to have just broken your fingers. Yeah, my favourite one is the when it says, "Are you sure you want to merge these two files? This is not an undoable operation." Bloody is. You just mask the area off or select the subtool that you've just merged in and split it out. So you wouldn't mind if it genuinely was not undoable. I mean, you can't literally press undo, which is, you know, fair enough. But it's not like it's the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? There's ways around it. But I can't undo things half the time anyway, because you get so far and it kind of goes, oh yeah, I think I'm running out of memory. I'll just delete all of your undo history. Great. Yeah, there are some bits of ZBrush that are just absolute annoyances. That random, do you ever get that random thing where you get like a line straight across the model in it, like literally just goes straight across whatever you're sculpting, whatever you're drawing, just goes straight across it. And I've had it before where it's done that and then deleted my undo history straight afterwards. You have to go back through every part of the model that thing's touched, and basically manually undo it, manually correct it. But it's good to be able to kind of do that, I think, because it's definitely one of those like confidence building type skills. To know that, you know, it doesn't matter if you lose something or if something doesn't go to plan. You've got the ability to kind of fix it. And that's true whether you're doing painting or sculpting or whatever. Drawing. Just don't get too kind of like married to your work. Be prepared to scrap it if you need to. But I don't even get 2.5D mode. I've never used it. And also, I'm just going to say this, and I don't care if anybody disagrees with me, red wax is bloody awful. Who decided that was going to be their default material? Because somebody needs a kicking for that. Morning, Peter. Hope you're well today, sir. Yeah, 2.5D mode to me is just entirely pointless. I don't get it. Surely if you want to work in 2.5D, you do all your 3D stuff and then you export into Photoshop and do your post-processing there. I don't get why you'd want to use ZBrush to do the 2D aspect of it. I say, I could be missing something, there could be a trick to it, but it's not something I've ever explored and I don't really know about it. But anytime I need to post-process a render, it gets exported and then done in Photoshop. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would echo that 100% because it's just ridiculous, and I don't get it. I mean, for me as well. I mean, I'm colourblind, and that red material has absolutely no contrast in it at all, and I can't see what I'm doing with it. So if I was to try and sculpt in there, my sculpts would look horrendous. I always use just basic material, I do, because it's just easier. Do you know what rendering I actually do? So the renders for the Kickstarter model that's coming up. Let me just carve this out and I'll show you. Let's just put Bunker's rabbit's lead in place. So his hand goes in, moves down. What's hidden? Right, there we go. So I just need to take his hands. So do both arms. I'm aware I've just picked up something I shouldn't have done then. I think it was his belt. Let's put his belt back. So I'm going to take both of the arms now. I'm going to group mask on them. I was going to do a Dynamesh with groups on. And now I can just come into his hands and just... Thank you, Rich. You'll give him an ego boost, you know. You don't want to make him uncontrollable or unmanageable. Right, I'm just going to run inflate just down his fingers. And here I want to inflate the space in the hand here, just to make sure I don't get any kind of cavities with the, what do we call it now, where the strap goes through. I think that should be good. Okay, so there we've got a finished oh, come on, I'm only trying to... There we go. Okay, so for rendering, what I would typically do, I use the Lightbox render set, this one. I don't know what it is. It looks a bit like Mega Man to me, but the I use that one. But then if you go to render, and you go to BPR filters, we've got F1 and F2 enabled. So if you click on F1, you can see it's a sharpen, and F2 is contrast auto grey. So if I set a white background in this document, what you'll see is when I do the BPR, the white will actually kind of tint. So see, it goes from bright white to a kind of an off white. Let's just do a quick export of that. Bunker, what's your rabbit called, mate? Has your rabbit got a cool name, or is it like Floppy? Diva. There we go. Alright, so that one's done. That's Bunker ready to rock. Don't know about you, mate. I'm quite pleased with that. It's got all that, the dynamic I was looking for. A little bit of humour. Right, so then we go on to number 2. Let's do Constable Porter next. Brilliant, thanks mate. Right, I'm going to delete his sleeves. Let me just save, make sure we don't lose. Finish Bunker. Well, you've got to have the personalities out in there, haven't you? They're the ones that people like and they enjoy. So like you have the stock guys who are going to kind of like fill the ranks and give you a couple of models to like bump up your numbers and stuff. But then you've got to have the little ones who just ooze charisma. Okay, so Kev asked for a kind of a generic kind of guardy pose, I think. Right, rendering was what I was going to show you first, wasn't it? So yeah, for rendering, so we did that render just. If I go to BPR and go to BPR render pass now, so we've got like the different layers. Normally I turn on ambient occlusion, because the ambient occlusion could be quite good to help boost some of your shadows and get a bit of contrast when you post compositing. But generally speaking, all I really need is the shaded version and then the mask. Everything else, I don't really know what the purpose of some of these is. Like the shadow you can use again for a bit of contrast. But you take all these different bits, lob them into Photoshop, and basically just use the mask to kind of remove the background, and that just gives me a, where are we at now? So here we go. So the renders for the characters. So complete. There we go. So I've got all the different layers exported here for the Warlock. If I open my PSD version, so you'll see here we've got one layer which is just the standard one. Actually, that's the AO, I think. It's on darken at the moment. If I change it to normal, yeah. So that's ambient occlusion there. So we'll change that to darken, and then we've got this one which is in overlay mode, which is the shadow. No, I quite like that render. I quite like the format of that. So this is just using that. So that render set I've just showed you basically is this. What I can do and what I have done in the past is turn off the second part of the render set, which is the F2 filter. So the first filter is a sharpness one. F2 is the auto grey. So you can turn F2 off and it keeps the background white and doesn't add that kind of like grating to it. You could put like a sepia colour in there or something else. You can play with them. I did also buy a Z plugin. Don't know where it is now. I don't know if I've installed it on this version of ZBrush or not. I think I might have had it on the previous version before I upgraded, and I've not installed it on this one. It's called something NPR. So so much NPR, yeah. So this one. So I was looking at doing some of the non-photorealistic renders. I thought it might be quite good for the thing. But if I go to, I mean, let me show you Bunker on this one. This is like a paid plugin you have to buy, so it's not one that's like off the shelf. It wasn't expensive; it was only a few quid. But if I take Bunker here and we go to like NPR, so let's select presets. So we go for shaded color, and then we do a thingy. We get like that. So you get like a comic book outline kind of effect, and it's quite cool. But I don't like some of the lines here. I don't like the way some of them kind of like they look a bit pixely and a bit rough. So you've got a shaded grey, which is again it's the same. It's just a little bit lighter. If I'd have put colour onto the model before, the colour would show through on that, and it wouldn't just be all grey. There's flat colour, which again we haven't got any colours on there, so you're not going to see it, unfortunately. Flat grey. Then there's mono warm, which we're getting to be a more cartoony look now. Do you know what I mean? This is starting to like change up a little bit, but it gives it like a brownish sepia kind of like gloss over, if you like. And then mono cool. So I think this one's a bit more blue. Yeah, like a bluey greeny grey, is it, or something? Kind of got a blueprint type vibe on that one, if you know what I mean. And then line blue and line black. So again, it just removes the colour and just leaves the outlines. Now that I think is quite passable in terms of, you know, if you wanted to do like standees and things. It reads quite well. So something like that would be viable to do a kind of a quick export and then paint over, kind of to, you know, if you wanted to do a bit of a colour up and whatever. But yeah, like I say, I tried all of these. I couldn't really get them to work how I wanted them to do. I've tried loads of these other render sets, and you always get this weird stuff going on like that, and I don't know who'd want to use that. That doesn't do anything for me, that doesn't, do you know what I mean? This is like, it just looks bizarre. I can't get any of these kind of like preset like type things to work well. Yeah, exactly. Illustration's perfect, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem to do this. Oh, that's not too bad actually. The anime, again, another good base if you're going to use it to do line art over. But then, like, yeah, it's just a lot of the effects are just a little bit wishy-washy and a bit odd. They might look better with colours applied to the model, but when you're just trying to get a kind of a, you know, a finished presentation render, nothing else really kind of like cuts the mustard, I don't think, you know. One of the ones I do like though is, and I only like it because of my age, I think, but it's the where is it now? Pixel art or retro game. So you got the retro game one where you kind of like you can make them into like pixel art for, like, you know, if you are doing anything of that nature. And then there's another one which is the actual pixel art one, which I think is just bigger pixels. It literally looks like it's come off the SNES, except obviously you can't see any detail on it now. It works better on larger models and, you know, bigger renders. But yeah, I just find it's quite tough to try and get. And that's quite good with the hashing and the shading and stuff, but it doesn't do the job of presenting it. So for me, it tends to be that. So we'll use that one, and that'll be the one I use for presentation. It's the same. It's just got a little bit of a contrast boost with the sharpness enhanced. The other way I do renders, which I'll show you quickly, I've got a little render set up here in Blender. So let me pull Blender up and I'll show you what we do. I'll show you how the setup works when it loads. Oh, it's loaded, sorry. Okay, so what we've got in this scene, you can't see any of it, it's all hidden. So if I just turn them all back on, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights and a cube. Okay, so if I come out of this mode, we go into this, we've got an array of lights pointing in different directions, doing different things. So this one here is, how do I check that again now? Is that it? No. Right, so we've got a point light up the top, which is just white. We've got another point light here, which is also just white. So these two are kind of doing the same effect, they're just adding the lighting from different angles. This one being further away means the effect on the model is a little bit less. Now the model is going to always be dead centered there, so right on the 0 point, above this cube. The cube looks like it's been shifted a little bit, so it's not the end of the world, but if the model's not above that cube, then it's going to look awful. Okay, and then we've got this one, which is a it says it's another point light, but it seems to be round. It doesn't look like these. How's that point light again? So that's another just white light. Then we've got another white light shining at the back, but this one's not as powerful. And then we've got this one here. Now I think this one I believe has got a slight tint of blue in it. I can't really tell the difference between it, but there is a blue one I put in, which gives the scene this like little blue backlight. I want to say that's it, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, either way, let me just add. We're going to import an STL into the scene now. So mini index. Let's grab Wolf. Right, now I forgot to tell him Y is up, so not like literally Y is up, but that Y is up. So right click on him and set origin to geometry. Okay, so we're going to place him in the scene, we're going to scale him down. So you go to 0 for camera view. guys, if you're wondering, this is what Haley does for me usually. So all the renders you see, this is why this file is called Haley's renders. So again, we fill the screen as much as we can. And if I press F12 to render it now, it's going to look awful. Okay, so that's what it looks like standard with the standard Blender material in. I've set the background on these so the backgrounds are transparent, so it's never going to render a background and it's only going to render the model. So what you actually need to do is come off that. We need to go onto Wolf, we need to go down to materials, we need to give him a material. So I've got a custom material in the scene, so we click on this little drop down thing, we've got render material, and that's the material that's applied to that cube. So that all of this lives within the file. Haley, when she renders, doesn't have to do anything apart from like pick the best angle for the model basically. And then if I press F12 and render it now, you'll see a huge difference in the shadows and the light and stuff like that. Now that is still too dark, and the reason it's too dark is, as I said before, he needs to be directly on that that cube. So we come to the forward view, it doesn't look any different, it's just now physically located above that cube. And when I press F12 to render this now, and we've got the proper render, so now you can see all the little details, you can see all the textures, you can see everything as we need, and we've got this little bit of a blue kind of like backlight going on, this like slightly teal colour. And that, Paul, is how I do my product renders. So when I'm just doing a quick snapshot to show you what's going on while I'm working, I just do a quick render in ZBrush and do either a screen snip or a what do you call it, like a screen snip or a what do you call it, render. I can't even remember what it's called now. Just a document export, that's it. Couldn't remember what it was called then. And that's it. So yes, yeah, so the two different ways I would present stuff. Now if I want to do full colour renders aren't really practical to do in Blender, because you have to decimate the model down to be able to use it. So you end up having to bake out like maps and things like that to make it work, and texture maps. And I never faff with UVs and maps and things. So if I find a way where I can export from ZBrush with all of the material data intact, and I did actually find something before for in fact, you know what, let me just check and see if I can do the same thing with my Jarlaxle model I painted. I don't know where I saved it, that was the only problem. So again, with Only Games, they did a Kickstarter for they basically bought a full colour printer, and they were trying to roll it out and get people on board to use it essentially. I can't remember what file it was done as though. WRL. Can I import a WRL file? VMRL. It might work. Let's see if it works. Now the problem is, again, this is going to have all the colour contained in it, I don't know how this is going to work in terms of the actual lights and how they're going to kind of bounce and play. Taking its time. Come on, Blender. Yeah, this is literally the only thing I use Blender for anymore. I used to use it for quite a lot of stuff, but it just doesn't get the use anymore. Right, no, that's not right. Where's your colours? That is not right. Right, let's try again. Okay, so that one also is not working. Let's have a little look and see if there was a there's a colour version with a see the WRML or WMRL or WRL or whatever it's called. When you export that, I'm sure in this it will show colour. Oh, come on. This is the one that they actually use to print on Only games. Yeah, so there we go. So it's imported the model with the colour, but for some reason it doesn't load into Blender. I wonder if it's a setting I need to do when I import it in. File, import, WRL. There's nothing else to say about that, is there, when it comes in? Oh well. Never mind. I can't demonstrate your colour rendering there anyway, so. Right, let's do a quick half hour of more posing. Oh right, hang on. So here's another weird one. I don't know if you've ever spotted this, Paul. So because I've got this open, Photoshop nerfs the touch sensitivity on ZBrush. It always seems to do it, and it really annoys me. And it always happens when you forget you've got it open. Let's just create the sleeves, delete the internal bits. Yeah, if you ever try opening Photoshop and then open ZBrush, and you'll notice there's a lag and a delay between you doing something, touching the screen, and actually, like here now, it's like my this should be doing something, but it's just not. And the reason it's not is because Photoshop's nerfing my and it also affects your pressure sensitivity too. So like when you would normally kind of like tap lightly and do a light stroke, like that's a far thicker stroke than the pressure I've just applied should have allowed. It's almost like trying to draw with a mouse, or trying to work with a mouse. That's why the shoulders are so badly mangled here when I've only just kind of like carved it in a tiny bit. So I just have to reinitialize my tablet. Sometimes you have to close ZBrush down and reload it again, reopen it, and that will kind of get it to work. But let's see if that helps. It still feels a little bit too... No, it's just save and reload. You know what? Because I have to do that, I'm gonna stop for today, because I'm gonna stop shortly anyway. Get some other bits and bobs on. Gonna have a little look and see who is about at the moment. So Mike's up again. Let's go raid Mike, and then I can get on with my chores and my jobs and tasks and whatever else. And tomorrow morning I've got a Sky Engineer coming back out again, so I won't be doing a stream tomorrow morning, or maybe on tomorrow afternoon. We'll just have to see how that pans out. But then tomorrow evening I'm off to watch Peter Kay at the NEC, so we'll have to see. Thank you, Paul, thank you. Okay, so yeah, I'll just crack on and get some of these worked on this afternoon, maybe get a few posed up and ready to go, fire them up into the Discord so you can see what's going on. And Bunker, if I've got these guys ready before ChillCon, I'll make sure I get you and Rosie a set down there, and Kev I suppose as well, and Josh, because he'll want one. So anybody who's going to ChillCon, ping me a message and I'll make sure I get you a set of these printed up. Okay guys, well thank you again for joining me. We're going to go raid out to Mike, and sod Kev. Oh god. Don't know what I'm doing, do I? You think I'd have got the hang of this by now. Alright guys, thank you all again. Thanks for joining me today, and yeah, keep your eyes peeled for the for the Kickstarter. Yeah, bunker. Later taters. See you later peeps.